So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, to all the viewers joining across the globe. My name is Manish, and I'm host today, and EcoITCon is back again with yet another interesting fireside chat. Today, we are going to talk about digital transformation, its impact on assurance considering sustainability. It's a little complex subject that we'll discuss today. And for the conversation, we have a great personality, Srivatsan Thattai, with us today. Srivatsan is a industry veteran, 3 decades of experience in digital transformation space, specializing in assurance. And Srivatsan also assumes the responsibility of being a mentor and a coach to this fraternity. So welcome, Srivatsan. Great to have you today.
Pleasure, Manish. Again, good evening, good morning, and good afternoon to everyone across the globe. It's a pleasure to be on this forum. Thanks, Manish, for providing these opportunities. Let's get started. Thank you.
Absolutely. So, Srivatsan, I think we'll start with a bit of setting the stage on digital transformation, right? If we really look at in the industry today, digital transformation is almost, the market size has crossed $1 trillion over these years, and it's going to grow it's continuing to grow at a rapid pace, right? Digital transformation is, predominantly dominated by a set of digital so-called next generation technologies, right? Whether it is artificial intelligence, whether it is cloud, whether it is blockchain and whatnot, right? Now, when we superimpose the concept of sustainability or a sustainable IT into the mix of digital, right? To industry's understanding, sustainability as such as a space is already been benefited by using digital technologies, right? Most of the companies are adopting digital technologies to really bring the sustainability impact in the industry, whether it is a climate emission control, whether it is a carbon footprint reduction, or even in the S&G space, which is more of a social and governance space of ESG, it also started to contribute as well, right? However, there is also a risk being spoken about that, technology itself is a very, very heavy entity per se, and broader adoption of digital technologies are also causing inherent carbon emission themselves. I think that's the whole context of a stage of conversation today for us, a discussion. Srivatsan, maybe I'll invite you with the first conversation on how are you seeing digital space is shaping up, and what's your view initially on digital technologies today?
Absolutely. So, see, let's take a step back, right? Digital transformation lies on 5 pillars, right? Everyone knows that, right? So it's customer, competition, data, innovation, value proposition. These are the 5 core pillars of digital. Now, if you take carbon emission or sustainability on any of these 5, right? Plus technology adding as a flavor to enable all these, basically, right? The risk is across all these 5. Simple, right? Customer in the digital world is viewed as your face off to the market. It's unlike the previous age, analog age, where you go to market and sell your products and services. Today, customers sell for you.
Yeah.
And that's the way. Now the tool for selling becomes more complex because you've got this omni-channel, you've got enough of mobile phones, tablets. Now all of these cause emission, right? Increased emission is there. So the more you start adding technology layers and technology gadgets on top to enable business, the risk of increasing emission comes along with it. So there's a price to pay, right? The second part is competition. Competition is nothing but collaboration and co-opetition. Collaboration, co-opetition lends itself to a platform-based business where multiple parties, including the customer, collaborate. Again, there is a technology element over here, number 1. And number 2, the parties who are going to be involved are going to be more than what it used to be, because there are going to be partners, vendors, tool organizations, customers. Everybody is going to be on the platform. And so this increases the risk of footprinting, right? So that data goes without saying what we do with data today. Everything is data. You speak, your data, you walk, it's data, anything. You sleep, it's data, because your watch captures that. Now, this is again processing power. Right? Every bit of data gets captured somewhere in some cloud or some infrastructure, resulting in lots of consumption. Now, again you go. The fourth element is innovation. Innovation does not happen without technology. As simple as that. Nobody innovates for fun. They innovate for business purpose. So the more you push yourself into bringing tools or platforms or any kinds of APIs, whatever you call it, again, the footprint increase automatically goes with it. So value proposition is a culmination of all this. You use some or all of these to improve your value proposition to the customers. So net, if you see, digital age has the ability to build enormous amount of efficiencies as well as value to the users, customers, and to the organizations. But like you said, while on one side there is emission and sustainability awareness that is increasing by the day, it has to be married back to the digital channels. And that's where we are today, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. And then well said, you cannot stop the advancement in the digital space, right? And that's the need of an hour. You continue to improve. So unless and until you look at subsetting certain effort towards, controlling emissions, reducing, carbon footprint, but continue advance. So achieving that trade-off is between the two, the betterment as well as the risk to the environment.
I would also probably foresee, or maybe it is a thought process that I'm synthesizing, the digital transformation leadership or the core that exists in every part of the world should consider building sustainability into their core.
Absolutely.
Thereby, you don't have to do a post facto analysis on how to do, while you can do it along with your strategy while implementing, so that it makes it a lot more. The balance is created then and there, I mean.
No, well said, Srivatsan. Now, if I shift the gears a bit and look at from an assurance standpoint, which is traditionally when it comes to digital assurance, we were looking at more of user experience. We were looking at more of performance and resiliency. We were looking at more of data migration and application migration, right? So some of these traditional levers were considered for a digital assurance space, right? Now, if we were to bring the sustainability as a concept into it, more from a technology standpoint, what interventions that you see needs to be looked at when you build the strategy for assurance?
Absolutely. So strategy, okay, let me take a step back here. Right? To me, from whatever I have seen in the last 4 to 5 years, with the emergence of digital assurance as a specialty, moving away from quality engineering to DE, so QA to QE to DA now. Now to me, I mean, my view, digital assurance itself is an emerging space as of today, right? We are talking about a $60 billion QA market. I don't know, maybe 10% of it is fully matured from a digital assurance standpoint. The rest is still backlog. While that is the context of the market and the view, when we take the sustainability into factor, I will take 3 levers primarily. One is talking about application, right? 2 is talking about infrastructure. 3 is talking about talent of people, let's say people, right? Application, like you rightly said, we are into heavy automation. We talk automation, we breathe automation today, right? So while that is the case, there is also an aspect of how much of the application. There are large banks, large insurance companies, healthcare companies, 50, 60, maybe hundreds of them. Now, how much functionality is really consumed? How much is static and how much is dynamic? Now, there was a time where we were talking about waste removal.
Yeah.
We were talking about code coverage, code improvement tools coming in. But today, to me, we have probably 30-40% of dead code or code that never gets touched.
Yeah.
And still the mainframe based codes are not optimized. Now that is consuming space and infrastructure for you. Yeah. And that is energy, because your hard disks are active, your systems are active, and people don't access them. So there is a opportunity for you to touch upon carbon footprint consumption at that point.
Right.
And look at it from that angle. Second aspect is you come to technology. You are today having heterogeneous tool sets across everywhere. You are digitizing, you are digitalizing rather, take it back, digitalizing your life cycle. That's digital assurance for you, correct? You have touchless execution starting from your code down to your UAT, right? Now, if this touchless has to happen, I have to collaborate some 10 to 15 tools. I need code coverage, I need static code analysis, I need unit testing, I need in-sprint functional testing, I need early performance test, I need early API test, then probably I need an integration test with the same Selenium or maybe Tosca or whatever. Then I have got my system testing for performance, security, accessibility, blah, blah, blah. Right. And then goes your end-to-end. Now you talk about plethora of tools in all this. Again, this goes back to the same part of how do we ensure that all this is going to take up hell a lot of energy while we optimize the life cycle and squeeze the maximum.
Right.
So second aspect. Third aspect, complexity comes because people. The number of people who collaborate and again come into this space. Now is Agile and DevOps. Everybody is together. Earlier it was independent QA, QAs in some part of the world, you are in some part of the world. But today all of them are virtually together. Yeah. There is enough laptops and enough desktops are running at the same time. So there is sustainability opportunity there too. So strategy to me is twofold. One fold is while you don't compromise on the optimization, the ability to build sustainability strategy should start with building your digital assurance practice itself. There has to be a sustainability architect or whatever you guys call it in your parlance. They have to be part of the entire setup. You set up virtual labs, you set up what you call device farms, you set up N number of DevOps pipelines. Right. So now all this has to, you may have 400, 500 customers, large companies too. Now, how do you look at sustainability at three levels? First, at a project level, how do you go about building sustainability, small or large? Two, how do you go to an enterprise? Across multiple geographies and customers. And then this is the roll-up has to happen. So to me, digital assurance strategy is not yet perfected. It is still in works. While this is a fantastic opportunity to start building sustainability into it, because now you can make changes to sustainability as you go through the journey in the digital assurance. It's still not mature. So I see a huge opportunity.
Absolutely. No, I think what you're saying, Srivatsan, is three-dimensional view, right? One dimension is saying if I'm executing an assurance project or an activity for digital initiatives, from operations standpoint, the team or the project team can look at how do we reduce the carbon emission operationally, in terms of processes, environment, tools, and methods, and everything, right? So that's one dimension I think you've talked about. The second dimension you're talking about is what do we really validate in the end-to-end business process from a sustainability standpoint, right? So essentially, you measure the business processes carbon footprint, right? Emissions, and there could be methods to derive those. That's the second aspect. The third aspect that you're talking about is going within the software itself, and you've got code with you that is to be optimized. You have automation assets with you, which needs to be optimized. You've got a tool sets of reference tool sets for executing automation needs to be looked at from carbon footprint perspective. I think it's a wonderful, a view towards bringing a holistic, approach to controlling carbon footprint of an initiative itself. As that, yeah.
Correct. And trust me, this could be a 3-year, 5-year outlook. But the awareness has to start today.
Yeah.
As organizations embark their journey onto a platform-led digital assurance, or they are going to build capabilities of different arenas of digital assurance and then bring it together, I think they have to start building the emission factor and carbon footprint factor.
Yeah.
Then and there, please understand, we need to also build measurements and which we will discuss downstream.
Absolutely.
But when that becomes critical, until you define what to do, you cannot measure.
Right. And as of today, I probably to our assessment, there has not been much of a very concrete development on the way you will measure a carbon footprint, right? So there are hypotheses, there are ways and means, but is it an industry standard? I think that still has not been really developed yet. Okay.
No, you are right. I think it's very early to even talk about industry standard at this point, right? Yeah. Maybe a consortium like this can start putting things on the table for people to react. Only then it gets established over a period of time. Right?
So one more question, Srivatsan, is do you think assurance for sustainability itself is a possible area to come in future for people?
Obviously, that's exactly a continuation of what we just spoke about. What is assurance of sustainability is we are measuring effectiveness, efficiency, productivity, cost, everything. But what we also need to measure is what it takes in terms of sustainability, whatever form, carbon footprint, energy, so the consumption is one part. You have to measure consumption continuously. Second aspect is you have to see a trend of how are you doing? How are you actually performing? While you may be optimized on, as I told you, on the life cycle perspective, the opportunity here is to see quality of delivery along with your quality of carbon footprint reduction.
Right.
That has to be your key KRA for you or a KPI for you to say you are doing well. To me, there is a good opportunity for me to build, like I'm building a pipeline for testing of the QA with the DevOps. I need to probably think about how can I build a pipeline for sustainability below. So there's a 3-level pipeline. You have your DevOps, you have a QA, then your sustainability.
Right.
So this is at every phase I want to determine my ability to deliver at a KPI for consumption, KPI for wastage removal.
Right.
Now, if I am able to do that, then I have a specialization that is going to set up. Who knows? This could tomorrow become an engine to get plugged into any of the applications.
Absolutely. Yeah.
This is a huge opportunity.
And if we extend that enablement, Srivatsan, what would you advise in terms of being ready for this type of a world to take over, especially from a skill standpoint, from a seniority and experience standpoint? What's your view on that?
See, okay, I'm already struggling with the answer on how digital assurance skill sets is going to overtake. Okay?
Right.
Because that I told you, right, $60 billion industry. How are we going to transform this lot into digital assurance? That's step number one.
Yeah.
So that itself is another 1 decade, according to me. Now, but on the positive side, you need to have people who are probably BS. I don't want to call them BS, but they are specialists who come from the field of developing tools and processes for sustainability. You need a sustainability BA as much as you need a business BA.
Yeah.
Now, I do not want a tester to become a sustainability guy because today testers are becoming, they have to learn everything in the world because everybody does everything. Now, to me, sustainability is not that. Sustainability is a very special field.
Yeah.
And it's The way you use sustainability in different places are totally different.
Right.
You don't have one size fit all. So for a QA or a IT life cycle kind of environment, the sustainability guy should also be aware of how IT life cycle works.
Right.
It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
So we need to bring a sustainability guy, probably skill him up on IT, which is the easier way to do than doing the other way around. So the eco engineers, I would call them. So we bring eco engineers or eco BS into this mix, and tomorrow they will also become a eco advisor. I would probably have I will even think of creating an opportunity to do eco IT consulting, maybe 5 years down the line.
Yeah.
Whereby you go and say how to build sustainability into your life cycle.
Right.
While you may consider yourself as the most optimized shop in the world, I still want to know how you are doing with your emissions.
Right.
And how are you trying to make your own organization and your IT processes highly sustainable. Thereby, you are contributing to the bigger fraternity outside.
Right.
And to me, that also goes back to the fact that this needs to be reported publicly, because this is an imperative. So the skills as well as it's not a team. I'm talking about a set of individuals alone to start with. Tomorrow, if there is more and more business that is looking at this, I would probably create a practice. I don't want to call it COE because it's a very old term. You look at a practice which is focused on digital sustainability,
right,
or assurance sustainability, wherein their focus will be restricted to the 25-30% of your QA, right? How you operate on your SIT, ST, in sprint, performance, NFR. Now that by itself is a large piece to consume. Because that's where maximum amount of consumption happens, where testing just bangs on everything in the last 3 months. You pull more power. So that's
Oh, very, very interesting, Srivatsan. I think more and more we deliberate, more and more we likely to extend even a smaller subject to a wider domain. It's such an interesting subject, interesting phase that we are into around sustainability. If I have to summarize, I think a couple of things that you brought in, especially the concept of digital sustainability, sustainability assurance or assurance sustainability, the strategy of three-dimensional strategy that you spoke about. I think very interesting thoughts and an advice for a next generation that's coming in to really look at this as a space as well, along with obviously our technology dimension. And digital is here to stay. If digital is done sustainably, I think it's further here to stay as well, right? So I think thank you so much, Srivatsan, for being with us today, and it was enlightening to have such a wonderful conversation, and look forward to have you again with us. Thank you so much.
Pleasure, Mahesh. Thanks for the opportunity. Wonderful.
Thanks everyone for listening today. We'll come back again with another Fireside Chat in a month's time. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.